Hello, everyone. So the COVID fine, how many COVID fines around the country is insane. How many COVID fines were given out? And would you believe for dog littering, for not picking up after your dog, only 10 people in the whole country bought last year up to court for it. Only 10 people in the whole country. And with the COVID fines in two counties, Cavan and Monaghan, 800. 800. Well, it was 800. Give or take 800 in the two counties. That's only in two counties compared to the west. The west of the country, it's a lot. In one area in Dublin's over 1,000 fines. And this is for having house parties, etc., going outside of 5K and things like that, which is all just stupid at the end of the day. It did no good for anybody. It benefited nobody. Because it was still in the it was still in the same boat. So at the end of the day, it was not really. It didn't benefit anybody. It would cause more harm than anything else. Going around, and again, this is the thing. And this is the funniest part of it. Years ago, when I was young, I used to ask my parents where they're going, just what they know. You'll be nosy, I suppose. And they said the girls wouldn't ask you that where you were going. And in 2020 and 2021, apparently the girls did ask you where you're going and what you're doing. And what you're doing. Like, again, your old saying seems to become true. But yeah, it's a terror that happened. But again, this is the next thing I have to say to the girls. Because again, they have very little to do if they're going around one around after people who are going, in rightly so, because they have every right on the Constitution, every right on the Blue Moon to go wherever they want in their own country. If they pay road tax and they have a car and they pay them insurance and things like that, they have every right to be on the road more than anybody else. Like, again, the gals say where you're going and finding them for going outside the 5K. And many other circumstances too. There's people who wanted to go and see their mother's graves and things like that. For Mother's Day and things, and the gals told them to go away, it was non-essential. Seeing your mother's grave is non-essential. People that wanted to go and see, people that were just fed up and wanted to go and see their friends because they were very depressed and upset. No, the girls didn't care about that. They just find you, non-essential. Your health, you met the health. We care, even though we care about your health, so they say they care about your health. We don't care about your mental health. Fuck you, you go into the gals. That was one case to happen in Cavan. The gals turned away somebody because they wanted to go and see their friend because they were fed up, they were sick and upset and depressed because of the lockdowns and everything, because they were seeing nobody who lived on their own. They wanted to only have a few hours with the friend, talk to the friend, because they lacked the social contact, because obviously all was locked in our houses. Prisoners of our own country may use that word. But again, this is the next part I have to say. Where's Phil Hogan? Why is Phil Hogan not on this? And all of them in the fucking golf gate down in Clifton. Not one of them. I think one of them only got a fine, maybe, possibly, but probably was made up. The media probably made it up just to try. But not one of them. Not one of them. I never seen the gals. Where was the gals in Clifton that day? Where was the gals in Clifton? If I ever seen in the League of Gathering, it was the Golf Society. Because the day beforehand, they said to you and me not to do this, not to do that. And then they went off, broke every one of the fucking rules they laid out. And all of them were there. Where was the cops? Like, they must have been half asleep in Clifton if they didn't do it. Like, again, where was the cops? Where is their fines? They should be marched up to the courts the same as you and me. It's just fair is fair. Let's be fair. And then don't get me started about the OT. Where was the cops in OT? Where were was there no police around at all? Because they must have been all out on the roads chasing around only citizens, harassing them for going around their own country. And OT were off fucking over every word every night they pronounce to us to tell us what to do, and then they fucking broke every one of them themselves. And okay, no sign of a guard, no to be found. The guards wouldn't even investigate it. Same with the Department of Foreign Affairs when they had their party, which Simon Coveney is now seems to have attended. Where was on Garda Síochána Connor? It was in the Department of where were they? You think the guards would have come in with batons and bet them all around the place? That's what they would have done to only citizens. We've seen them go around with batons and beating only citizens on beaches because they were just on a beach with nobody else around them, and the guards went and beat them with batons. And then when you have mass gatherings inside with no mask, no social distancing, things like that, in the Department of Foreign Affairs and higher up civil servants, there's no sign of the guards, nowhere to be found. And even though there's a minister, like, you see where I'm coming to. Where are their fines? As soon as this came to light, where are the fines? And the same in England too. Like this, the Metropolitan Police, the time Boris Johnson had his little do with cheese and wine. Not enough evidence that there was cheese and wine. Not enough. They didn't. You would have been barging down Downing Street to get Boris Johnson into handcuffs and bring them down to the station, as they would have done to an ordinary civilian. They wouldn't have just said, "Oh, there's not enough evidence." They would have fucking went and arrested them and put them in prison. But again, the establishment is one rule for the another rule for the other. But again, 700, like, it's ridiculous. The guards have nothing else better to do, and people probably getting robbed and things like that, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And other things were happening And they wouldn't investigate them. The guards wouldn't investigate them, but they were too busy running around after people that were just going around their own country in cars that they pay for, they pay their taxes, and going around and harass them where they're going and what they're doing and why they're on the road, where they're heading, who are you, papers please, like all this crack. And the politicians who got off with murder. Like Phil Hogan should be charged anyway he should get penalty points for being on his phone. And still hasn't been talked about in the media on why he was let off with being on his phone. And the next thing is, why did they go and tell Drew Harris, the Garda Commissioner? Why did the guards tell Drew Harris that Phil Hogan was caught on his phone? This is the next thing. This is the thing that needs to be asked. Because if I was an only guard, I wouldn't give a fuck. I'd just give him the ticket. And that's the end of it. I wouldn't go fucking to my superior and say, oh, it's this fucker that's a politician. He's a bollocks. He is a bollocks. But that's the first thing I think a guard ever said that's the truth. He said the bollocks. But again, remember what... it was one of the Garda whistleblowers. The Garda are nearly the biggest criminal gang in the state. To be totally honest with you. Because they're not straight, let's be fair. Well, it was unbelievable they actually enforced the 5k rule and things like that. Because at the end of the day, it was no benefit. It'd be different if we were out of this situation, if they had to do that, and we were out of the situation now, and everything was standing, everything was back to normal. But no, it's probably going to happen again. But again, this is just the thing. The Gauds have lost a lot of respect, and I have to say this, and I have lost a lot of respect for Garda Síochána over the last few months, particularly what they do, because they shouldn't be enforcing rules, like this, like that. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, the law is the law. Like, let's be fair. If you rob a shop, if you rob somebody's house, you threaten somebody, things like that. That's understandable. That's the law. That's the law of the land. But this law, it was just made no sense. 5k kilometers. Apparently, COVID turned up when you go over 5k. Again, it made no sense. But anyway, that's out in 2021.